Travis at Builds Down South, and I'm going to give you a little background info on us, how we got started, where we are currently, and where we're trying to go. So the Builds Down South name is something we came up with this year. I've actually been in the car business since 2013, and we were doing cars before then really, but we've been in the business fully since 2013. Before then, I spent about 5 years doing retail as a manager, and then before that I used to paint cars and do body work at a body shop locally, and so that's how I kind of got into cars as far as paint and body work. And I've always wanted to kind of be in the car business. My family was in the car business as I was growing up, so it was just kind of in my blood to buy and sell cars. That's just something I've always had an interest in. I've always been more interested in like the fixing up part of the cars, specifically with the paint and body work. Not so much mechanically, but I have learned a lot of mechanic stuff being in the car business, so I don't mind doing that stuff now either. So in 2013, we had the opportunity to open up a little small car lot in our hometown of Cuba, Alabama. And we ran it out of our house. To start with, we were just doing cash sales on our cars. And we needed a little bit more business going in. We needed something coming in more often than just, a car here or there. So we started doing buy here, pay here. And we did that for about 6 years. And we had some pretty good success with it. Towards the end of our run there, it started getting a little tight, and the economy in the local area, a lot of the local businesses were closing and everything, so there weren't as many jobs around here. We actually opened up a second business, totally unrelated to cars, but it's an aquarium shop in Meridian, Mississippi, called The Tank Life. And we have another channel called The Tank Life on YouTube as well, so if you want to check out those videos, go ahead and do that. But anyway, so we started focusing on that in 2018. So for almost 2 years now, we've been working on that business. And now I've wanted to get back into really doing the cars all the time. We never closed the business. We're still licensed. We still sell cars. We still have some buy here, pay here customers. So we never really got out of it. We just kind of put it on hold for a minute. So Builds Down South is something I came up with as like a little side project, but it's also to help get our business back on track. And we've decided to go with a different route. Rather than doing the buy here, pay here, we're gonna go straight back to just doing cash sales. We don't feel like the economy would support the buy here, pay here right now. And there are plenty of other options for other people doing buy here, pay here. So we feel like the cash business is just where we want to be at, especially since we have something else now to fall back on, and we're not just depending on car cash sales all the time. Okay, so I told you we did buy here, pay here, and we still did some cash sales too. And we were getting most of our cars from auctions. And another problem that we had was that one of the auctions we depended on, it went out of business. So we weren't able to find the cars in the price range that we needed them to be in and still be in the condition we needed them to be in. We were having to go really far away from here to acquire vehicles, and the cost of just going and picking up the cars, going out of town, going to an auction, not even knowing if you're going to be able to buy a car or not, just was not worth it for us. So that was another reason we got out of the buy here, pay here thing. And like the price of the used cars just went straight through the roof. I mean, cars we used to get for $1,000 or $1,500, we were having to pay $3,000 or more for them, and they're in just horrible condition and tons of miles on them. And another problem was that during the time period that we were in business, a lot of the new car dealers, especially the cheaper brands like Kia and Hyundai and a few of the other well-known names, they started doing more subprime lending like they've never done before. And new credit opportunities came open for people, so they were able to go get newer cars for about the same monthly payment that they were paying us, although With us, they had like a 2-year payment term. With them, they have like a 7, 8, 9-year payment term, but they get a newer car, so it's more attractive. Now, in the long run, they're going to end up paying a ton more money for those cars. It's not really worth it. They're going to be run down after a couple of years. In our experience, here people just don't really keep up their cars as well as they should. They don't do the oil changes and the maintenance like they should. Money's tight already because a lot of them are low income or fixed income, and they just don't have the extra money for the car maintenance. It's enough just to have to make the payments. So anyway, all those factors combined, the not being able to find the vehicles at the right price, the new car dealers doing subprime lending, and then not to mention new car lots opening up left and right everywhere you can imagine. Everybody wants to be a car dealer. It looks alluring from the outside, but once you get into it, you realize it's not all that great. I've seen a lot of people open up shop and then they're quickly going out of business, not even a couple of years later. And I'm talking about people that have the money to do it and they're still just going out of business because it's just not what they think it is anymore. Now, back in the day when there weren't as many people doing it, it was more profitable, but now everybody's a car dealer, so everybody can't do the same thing. So anyway, now that's why we have decided to focus on cash sales, and that's how we came up with Builds Down South. Not only do we just want to carry basic essential transportation anymore, we want to carry some stuff that maybe is like a second vehicle / project car / weekend hot rod kind of deal. So like older pickups that people turn into like street rods or whatever, cars that are customized a little bit, nothing crazy, but something you might even take it out on the track on the weekend or something, a Mustang, Camaro, or Challenger, something like that you can take out on the weekend. Now, obviously, we're not going to do $20,000, $30,000 cars for cash, so we're not going to have all these new fancy cars, but we're going to do it in a way where everybody can afford to do it, or most of everybody can afford to do it. Basically, hot rods on a budget. Weekend fun cars on a budget. There's a lot of things you can do, and you don't necessarily have to have a brand new car to do it. You don't need a $500, $600, $700, $800 a month car payment to have fun in a vehicle. You don't have to spend a ton of money to have fun or just have a second vehicle or even a primary vehicle. A lot of couples or families or whatever, both parties have to have a job nowadays. That's just the way it is, and you can't afford 2 big car payments. One of you may as well just be sitting at home if you're spending $1,000-something a month for 2 car payments. So a lot of people are looking for a way to get a cheap vehicle that one of them can use for transportation while they still have a nice vehicle that they can use when they go out of town or go shopping or whatever. But you've got that basic transportation that you can use during the week to go to work. And a lot of people are like, okay, well, I also want a project car. So, well, they don't have the money to buy 3 cars. So a lot of times that second car ends up being like the project car, like an older Mustang or older Firebird or something like a Subaru WRX or something like that. Just a fun vehicle that you can fix up and have some fun with, older trucks even, and stuff that you can do things with on the side and enjoy on the weekends, and take out to the car show, out to the track or whatever you want to do without having to spend a ton of money on it. You can just work on it as you go. So that's the kind of projects we're looking at. We will hardly ever build a project like full blast, completely top to bottom, but we're going to build some base stuff where you can customize it your own way. We just want to get you the vehicle so you can take it as your palette and do as you please with it. Now, some stuff We're going to go ahead and finish some of it out if it's already got a lot of stuff done to it. But as far as a full build, we're not going to be just fully dumping a bunch of money into it, because we wouldn't be able to sell it as easily. Not a lot of people have $20,000, $30,000 laying around just to go throw on a hot rod or something. So we're just going to have some base stuff. We're going to get it running good. We're going to get it looking good and give you a clean foundation that you can build on from there. That's the basis for the builds down south, and that's what we're going to focus on. Now, an example might be like a 70s model pickup. We might take that truck. If it needs a new motor or if it needs fixing, we'll fix that part of it up. We'll get the suspension going good. If there's any bad rust or anything, we'll fix that. We may even put a paint job on it and, get some rubber on it and get it going down the road, get the inside cleaned up and stuff. But we're not going to put every single little piece of trim back in place. We're not going to customize the gauges and customize the radio and all that stuff. We're going to leave that up to you to do it the way you want to do it. We're just going to get the project started for you. Once you've got the bulk of the project purchased, you can add on these little things as you go. So that was our idea for that. Now, it's not always about the hot rods. It's not always about the fast cars and the cool pickups and stuff like that. Part of our culture, like I said, is providing essential transportation. A lot of people just need a second vehicle. Maybe you need like a older Toyota or an older Honda or something like that that's basic transportation. We're going to take stuff like that, refresh it, and send it back out on the road. If it needs like a new motor or new transmission, or if it needs some other type of mechanical repairs, we'll take care of those. We'll get the inside fixed up. Maybe we have to source some new seats or something. The outside, we'll get the outside straightened up and get maybe a new paint job or something on the car, to where you have a decent running, decent looking vehicle that's your second car. You're not embarrassed to park it in front of your $200,000 house or whatever. And you can save money by not having a big car payment, but you still have something that's decent, reliable, but cheap at the same time. A lot of people like the early 2000 model Hondas and Toyotas and things like that. We do a lot of those. Even in our business before this, we did a lot of those. So we'll still continue to do stuff like that, and it'll just be sold on a cash basis. We're going to shoot for price ranges somewhere around $3,000, $3,500 selling price. We'll have some cheaper stuff. We'll have a little bit more expensive stuff, but we're going to focus on stuff that is really essential, that people really need. Small pickups. People love small pickups because they get the fuel economy of a car, but you can also transport stuff in them if you need to. If you need to haul a washer, dryer, something like that, but you don't always have to have a truck, that's a great option for you. And like we said, the little Hondas and Toyotas, things like that, that's essential transportation, gets you back and forth to work. Also vans. A lot of stuff that we do is going to involve vans, and I know that doesn't sound very exciting to the build type of crowd, but to the people that need essential transportation and they have a lot of people they need to carry around. If you have 3 or 4 kids or something like that, or maybe a parent that can't get around so well or something, they don't need a sports car. They need like either a big SUV or a van or something like that. So we do a lot of that type of stuff too, and we'll fix those up just like we will a car. We'll just refresh them, basically, is what we're trying to do. It doesn't mean we fix everything on them, and doesn't mean we get crazy with the details on it. We just get it back in good condition. That means running good. It means clean and looking good on the outside, and functional. If it needs tires, if it needs it needs transmission rebuilt, or if it badly needs a paint job or something, we'll take care of that and refresh that vehicle, put it back out on the road. Also, one of our things that we're going to do is take wrecked vehicles and repair them back to original. That's how I got into the business. That's what I wanted to do when I first got started. and it's something that we never did get to, is the buy here, pay here lot. I did a couple of them here and there, but we never really got into it. So that'll be one thing that we really focus on. As soon as we can, we'll get into doing some of those. It won't be right away. It takes a pretty good cash investment to do something like that, because you have to buy the car, transportation to go pick it up or have it brought back to you, and then buying all the parts and everything. And those tend to be a little bit newer cars. We're not going to waste our time on older cars. We're going to get some stuff that's a little more modern. So it'll take us a moment to get built back up to that level, but we will have some of those as well. I've driven a lot of wrecked cars that were rebuilt in my lifetime, and I've gotten some pretty good deals out of them. When I was 18 years old, I took a car that was completely totaled, smashed all around, but it only had 3,000 original miles on it. I mean, it's basically a brand new car. It smelled brand new, everything, but it was just damaged all the way around. Mechanically, it was fine, but it was smashed all the way around. And I was able to rebuild that car. And I actually paid somebody else to do a lot of the work on the car. If I had done it myself, I could have done it a lot cheaper. But that's kind of what got me into doing all this stuff in the beginning, was that I saw the potential there. And other people have done it. I mean, it's not something that I just came up with. I mean, tons of people rebuild wrecked cars, and it was a real popular thing to do for a while. And it's kind of like the car business in general. Everybody got into it at one time, and the market fell out of it. At one time, people were trying to make a bunch of money taking these cars and trying to sell them at high prices, marketing them as lightly wrecked cars and everything. Well, let me explain something to you. If the car has been deemed salvage, it's because it would cost more to fix it than the book value of the car. That's the definition of salvaged. That's how the insurance companies figure whether a car is salvaged or not. If the repair is either basically too much to do, like the front end was completely wiped off of the car, it would be impractical to try to fix that. That's one way that it would get salvaged. The other way that it would get salvaged is if the repairs just simply would cost more than writing a check to the customer for the car. So if you've got a $2,000 car and gets smacked on the front end, it needs a bumper and a hood and a fender, not that big of a deal to fix really. But when you add in labor and materials at a body shop, that quickly adds up to the cost of the car. So you really can get some pretty decent deals if you know what you're looking for and you know how to fix it yourself. And then, like I said, people knew this. People in the business knew this. So that's when everybody started doing that, the prices of all this stuff ran through the roof. And where I really saw it take off was after the movie Fast and Furious. They roll up into the shop with the the orange Supra that was all burnt up and everything, and they turned it into this 10-second car and all that good stuff. That's when everybody really got into, hey, let's fix up the car real cheap. Let's go get something wrecked and bring it back to life. That's a lot of movie related stuff. In reality, it would have cost a fortune to build a car like that, especially one that was from scrap, and you'd waste a lot of time actually trying to fix stuff than if you started with a good car in the beginning. Because in the end, all you're going to have is a rebuilt car. I mean, at one point in time, it was wrecked, right? So that takes away some of the value. And a lot of insurance companies don't want to insure them for full value. A lot of finance companies won't even finance you on a rebuilt title car. They certainly won't finance a salvage title car. So that's just something to keep in mind. But at the same time, if you can get a good running, good reliable vehicle, or even a fun project car that you just don't care about what the book value is or whatever, you just want the car for what it is, deals can be had. And so that's one of the things we're also going to be doing here, is focusing on getting some of those wrecked cars and putting them back on the road. I really like sports cars that have been wrecked. If you can find one that wasn't completely demolished, that's a fun thing to do, is get like a Camaro, a Challenger, a Mustang, something like that, and just rebuild it, because you can customize it as you go. You don't have to replace all the parts with original parts. You can put aftermarket body kits. You can go ahead and upgrade engine components and stuff as you fix the car up. And so really, if that's what you were going to do to start with, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go buy a car that is all original and pay the full price for it and then go buy the aftermarket parts. To me, if I can find something that's not badly damaged, it doesn't have a lot of frame damage or any frame damage, it's just cosmetic stuff, I can replace panels and paint a car pretty cheaply. So I may want to customize that car as I go and save myself some money. So that's one of the other things we're going to do on this channel. And our channel name, like I said, is Builds Down South. That's the side project that we're working on, and that's what's going to convert these little projects like we're working on now into bigger projects, and those are going to convert into more essential daily vehicles and more project vehicles, and that'll encompass the entire business. And that's our plan. That's what we're going to do, and we hope you follow along with the journey. Like I said, please subscribe, hit that bell notification. I hope that you like the video as well. Thank you for watching, and you have a great day.